Hello, dear friends. Good evening to everyone. So, recently I've had someone say that if you start learning languages such as Spanish or German that are similar to English, and if you're already fluent in English, you're going to experience a dwindling or going down in your English fluency. So, let's get on with it. First of all, I'd like to give you some premise or prerequisite information that I'm currently learning German. I'm a German student. I'm at the B1 level now. According to CFR, a language is divided into different levels such as A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. C2 is the native level, and you can learn up to the C1 level of any language and clear their official exams. In the case of German, the examination is conducted by multiple agencies or establishments such as Goethe or Telc or OSD or things like that, depending upon various usages and applications. So I'd like to give you a premise about this topic that I've mentioned right now. What I've observed is that once I started learning the German language, which is quite strong with respect to consonants, which are placed together with less number of vowels in between, and phonemes and phonetical aspects, and mostly there are compound nouns which goes infinitely, and the grammatical structure, where order is quite flexible compared to English, which is weakly inflected, whereas German is considered to be strongly inflected, and almost all the words falling into multiple categories with multiple endings, plurals, singulars, and even cases, nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive are all confusing with lots and lots of tables and stuff like this. So once I started approaching language learning from a different method, which is not really familiar to me, because earlier I used to just mug up the words or just try to replace the new language words with the old word order, because most of the languages that I speak are Indian languages like Kannada, Tamil, or Telugu, or Hindi. And in most of the languages, gender and word order isn't really a trouble because, except for a few cases, we can almost always substitute the new language words with the Malayalam, that is my mother language, words, and it functions quite fluently. I can speak. And English somehow I acquired and also learned in school, and that's how I became fluent in it. So I just wanted to feel and experience what would happen if I would have started learning German or some other languages like that. And I did not really get a chance to become extremely fluent in Spanish, so I chose German right now, which is a trend in Kerala, my Heimatland, or place of origin, place where I stay. So I think my English has become better. That would have come out as a surprise. I just already broken the hypothesis that English would go down or go bad if you start learning German. Okay. The thing is that at first I automatically got subscribed to this idea. I was led to believe that, oh, your English is going down or going to go down if you start speaking German. Because obviously, German is a really complicated language. This is one of the hardest languages to learn in the entire world, along with Arabic, Mandarin, and all. Okay. So once I started learning German, I obviously had to put in more hours and effort towards that side. And naturally, my English fluency and dedication towards that side came down. And that was also a reason why I began to dwindle a bit with respect to my English fluency. But later on, I realized that somehow when I listened more English audios, when I was learning English back in 2023 and all, my linguistic faculty got awakened or triggered, and I was able to speak English more fluently with a natural British accent or similar to that. Okay, I could just leave my mother tongue influence and embrace something new, as if my linguistic faculty got excited. Something similar is happening or happened with in German as well when I started listening to German audios end on end, and especially during the day and night, and the same method that I used and applied to learn English. So when this happened, I was able to speak, and I'm still able to speak a little bit of German, not that fluent. I still do make plenty of grammar mistakes, and there is enough grammar in German to make a new learner confuse and make mistake in that. But I would say it has actually helped, or he's helping my English as well. So I could speak English fluent now. So my brain is somehow perceiving English as a safe space or an island that it could swim towards and rest for some time after speaking and trying to wet itself with German. I mean, trying to think of differences between English and German, trying to escape myself from translation, and then try out new words, new German words, new pronunciation that are similar to English but not quite English. Begin in English but begin and like figuring out infinitives to plus the word, the stem of the word in English, but en addition of en at the German word. For example, to begin and becomes begin and in German. Okay, and then there are words that are quite different, like do in English, but to do in English, but it is machen, like me M-A-C-H-E-N, machen in German, and things like that. It's quite endless. Okay, the list is quite endless. So to summarize, I would say that German learning has actually helped me to improve my English, and I think my brain has reached that level that it has cracked itself the code to learn any language. Now I don't really have to be afraid or set aside grammar or something that is really hard. Like earlier, I thought natural language acquisition (NLP, NLA) was the only method to speak any language. But now I think that approaching from the grammar side, when balancing it with natural language acquisition and learning, speaking, listening, writing, all combined together is going to do wonders for your language learning as well as your brain thing. And I think even maths is easier now. Okay, I haven't tried it out, but I think I'm quite confident about that side as well. That if I'm really trying it out, I can learn maths as well because it could also be perceived as somewhat grammatic, pattern recognition, and immediately simultaneously applying it for speech as well. All right. So that's all about today, and I hope you have gathered some ideas about what I've discussed today about language learning, and I'll keep on learning new languages, speaking, trying out these things, and I'd also like to try French, and I haven't started really, except for a few phrases like "Je m'appelle Ashik" and all. Okay, and "Je habite Indian," and that's all about it. But apart from that, I'm not really familiar with the French language, so I would like to brush up my Spanish as well as learn a little bit of French. And that's all about this update. And yeah, keep on learning German, keep on learning new languages, and become lingophiles. And I would also say that don't be disheartened if you already do speak English fluently. Don't be afraid that your English is going to go down if you learn German, because it's mostly depend upon you yourself. Because if you are able to ready, if you're able to put in more effort towards both German. You set 1 or 2 hours for German speaking and then start speaking English alongside. If you dedicate more hours to English and German equally, then you can equally speak out German as well. This is my experience. Your experience could be different. So try to balance them out and try to speak more languages and simultaneously give enough time and practice for each languages, and you could witness something quite wonderful. You could just even look in yourself in the mirror and think or ask, is it myself? Okay, you're speaking multiple languages fluently. So that's a confidence that is unmatched by any other activity, I guess. Okay, that's all about today. Good night. Thank you.